Greetings and hello. Welcome in to those who will probably join us. I am Nondescript Midnight MIDI, and I am joined by two lovely guests for this particular podcast today. We will be talking gaming and gender. Would both of you like to introduce yourselves?
I feel like I've earned an introduction from you. I want to hear what you think about. Who do you think I am? Let's start like that.
A really good friend and an awesome human being.
Oh, that's very sweet. Other than that, I'm the most mediocre of Spider-Mans.
You are the most mediocre of Spider-Mans. That's good. And Anarchy, your turn.
Uh, we are a jumble of people just trying our best generally. Um, Currently it's Sarah speaking. Um, I'm a little bit out of it at the moment. Had a long day, but doing all right.
Glad to hear that.
Doing all right is good. I am happy that you are doing all right. But yeah, I understand being out of it. You're more than welcome to grab a beer or wine or whatever your vice may be while this happens. The last time we had guests on, um, one of them was on their phone and they were just walking around outside having like a smoke and stuff. So it's a pretty chilled environment. You could do whatever. Also, if at any point you are inclined to turn your cameras on, you're welcome to do that too. Although I know some people. I remember we were doing a event with a couple of people a while back, and one of them was like, "I can't turn my camera on. I'm naked." Oh, okay, that makes perfect sense.
I really their dedication to comfort.
Hey, if you need to get naked, that's also okay. Probably don't turn your camera on then. But yeah, today, Mike mentioned something about talking about gender in gaming, so I decided to make that the theme of today's video. And I would like for both of you to tell me. Hang on, I gotta take my headset off and adjust my hair. Um, what is your experience with gendered characters in games? And where do you think, I suppose what we should talk about is where do you think we can improve and as an industry, and where do you think we have succeeded in some ways, or in what games you've played particularly that have resonated with your gender expressions and things of that nature? So yeah.
Well, I think we actually need to take a quick step back and just not delve in depth, but just mention, obviously, in some form or another, the idea of, for lack of a better term, I'm going to roll with RPG for now on. An opportunity to express yourself through characterization. That's existed more or less since we could form logical thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But from, I think it was the mid 70s, with the introduction of Dungeons and Dragons, with or gaming as a whole has had an opportunity to express yourself through a structured means. Now, obviously, almost 50 years onwards, we've kind of gone a long way past simple pen and paper RPGs, unless that's what you're into. And despite everything, despite all the advancements in technology, for the most part, you're still limited to binary genders. You're either man person or you're a woman person. And that's often the range of options you have within a game. That said, there obviously are games that have made more progress than others. Shockingly, EA, of all companies, does a surprising amount right in Sims regarding the fact that you don't necessarily have to express any one gender or gender trait or another in your characters. Again, we still have a far way to go. I'm done ranting for now.
No, go for it. Go for it. I was just pausing to hear what Anarchy's what their thoughts were on the topic before I. time
Well,
traveling.
what's actually interesting to me about the EA thing is The Sims being so uh, ahead of its time for gender was, I'm fairly certain, an accident that they kind of just stumbled into and didn't feel like fixing. Which is, there's a bunch of games that were like that at the time, um, like Fable 2, like was huge in gaming for being able to flirt with anybody of any gender and marry anybody of any gender. Well, either gender. There was only two,
Hmm.
but um, and it was considered like, no, it was Fable 1 actually, but it was considered revolutionary at the time for gender, for bi representation in gaming, and they also just happened to accidentally make everybody bi and didn't care to change it. Um, and so that it's interesting to me how often those accidents change the way we even um, experience the games as gamers, and the marketing that ends up happening, and all of these things. Meanwhile, on the corporation side of it, they just happen to do a thing and people are happy with them about it. And so they capitalize on it. And um, yeah, I just find it interesting how often that has shaped the queer representation within the games industry.
Yeah, on that.
That's a tremendously good point.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Fable was pretty good at that, right? Like, I actually hadn't thought about Fable for a long time, but yeah, I remember quite adamantly when I was playing the game, like years and years and years ago, how surprising it was to just be able to play a gay or bi character. That I think that really resonated with me for a long time. I think like I remember playing it when I was 19, even though it came out when I was like much younger. um, and also feeling a similar sense of representation, if that makes sense. And I do think that's an excellent point because I feel that there are some games that sort of stumble into it, as Mike pointed out, and then they just kind of roll with it. And I'm not sure. I think Fable was pretty intentional. One of the other ones that I thought of was Knights of the Old Republic 1, but that was in a much more subtle way. This is also probably a nitpick I have when it comes to um, like orientation representation in games, is that is it incredibly hard to get like a very small taste of a lesbian relationship in Knights of the Old Republic 1. Like you have to do so many things right in order to just get one of the women characters to say, "Oh, I care for you," and that's the end of the discussion. Your character literally just says, "Okay, we'll deal with that later," but now let's save the galaxy instead.
Oh god,
I,
that's like less than token.
though I do want to interject, you do bring up a very interesting point in just how far queer people are willing to go to get just the smallest taste of queerness in mainstream media. It's like, oh, we have to watch 700 episodes of an anime to see two men go, hey, I like you, but more than a friend. And we do it. Oh, we have to play 2,000 hours of Knights of the Old Republic to get two girls saying, hey, you're cool. And we're like, okay, well, there goes my year doing it. Um, and yeah, as wholesome as it is, it's also a challenge when you have so little representation in mainstream media. Although obviously, for anyone who objects, it is a lot better than it was a few years ago. But that's all relative.
Yeah, but don't you know, more queer representation makes everything political, right? Isn't that the meme? It's like there have been.
Ah,
Well, it's either straight or it's political. It's either white or political. It's either able-bodied or political. You know, like that's just kind of the thing, because of course the right wing loves to politicize everybody's identity. So yeah, it's frustrating, but also I think it would be really fun to have a game studio go out there and just unapologetically do as much representation as they possibly could and just not give a shit and like actually be run by marginalized people and telling marginalized stories and just like imagine how much that would mean to people, but there isn't one. So
Yeah, it's yeah. I believe the term when it comes to like specifically KOTOR, I think that the KOTOR people specifically, I think that was a case of there was like that one gay person who was like, I'm gonna sneak this into the code. Just watch. Just watch, they won't even know. you know? And that often gets brought up as like gay baiting. I'm sure everybody in here has heard the term. Um, where you're literally just you're throwing it in there just for the sheer sake of being like, oh, there's gay in here. Come and watch. We've got a gay in here. You're gonna love it.
You were allowed one gay,
A singular gay.
a singular gay, and you all have to share it.
Yeah.
well, it's interesting to note also that queer people really latched on to a lot of the early quote unquote queer baiting that was done by, as you said, queer people trying to get our existence out there in the media. And then there was a shift somewhere where the corporations realized what was happening and just went, oh, we can use this. And so now they've taken it and they're just running with it. And of course, now we're going, okay, you guys are now assholes because there was an authenticity in the in trying to get our experience out there. You know, even though it was like we had to search for it, there was an authenticity there that just isn't there now. So I don't know. That's kind of my 2 cents.
No, you make a great point. Nothing is sacred under capitalism, you know? As soon as there's an opportunity for the man to start profiting off of any group, uh, they do. The same can be said going back to, I'm sure, much further, but as far as my knowledge goes, back to blaxploitation films in the 70s, where it was like, oh, people want to see this, well, we can do that ourselves. We don't need people of color to make these movies. We can make our own, and we can make all the money. Same now. It's like the queer capitalism during Pride Month, where suddenly every company who never gives a shit usually, and often, as I'm sure, was I hope you remember the headlines, all the companies who on one hand donate funds to right-wing political groups or politicians, but then on the other hand will sell Pride merch.
Yeah, it's absolutely asinine.
Yeah, it's literally just a matter of I mean, it's like I actually speaking of like the people of color community, I don't want to speak for the two guests I had on during Black History Month, but like during that interview, I did not say a word, obviously, because I wanted to give my platform to them. But they pointed out something which I hadn't considered is that Black History Month has the same amount of corporate nonsense as Pride Month, in that these companies who outside of that month couldn't give a rat's ass about black people, queer people, anything like that, will literally just are underhandedly supporting things that are against their cause and against their way of life. And that's why Black History Month for the two people that I had on, Marvin and her name escapes me right now. But yeah, when I had them on, it's just a corporate take on that issue. So yeah, I feel like it's the same all around. It's these companies will go behind your back and support things that are antithetical to what they're saying during those specific months. And it blew my mind to actually even consider that. I'd always known about the um, Pride Month, but I hadn't assumed it was like that with every month that represents minorities. So yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
What's
Well, and of
unfortunate is,
course,
Hmm?
please.
Anarchy, you wanted to say something?
yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say that also reminds me about like autism awareness stuff and how corporations are always like, yeah, cool, and then it's like we're working with Autism Speaks. It's like, like they they're so it's just performative is really all it is. They just want to seem like good people while they continue to fuck everybody over, and they don't really care, and that's a problem. And we need to try to combat them taking over.
Yeah.
World.
The world. Yeah. No, it's true. Like I do believe that there are some places that genuinely were aiming for representation, but because of the way the corporations, do you know, this isn't gaming related, but we seem to have veered from that. I'm going to probably bring it back because I have something interesting to say. Of the game I've been playing recently, Mike will know all about it because I've been raving about Celeste for the past few weeks. I've been playing it. Um, Wow, my brain has just completely forgotten the point I was going to make. Completely.
Was the point that Celeste is gay AF?
Celeste is gay AF. That is the point. But I had something. Anarchy. What were you all saying? The last thing you said. Maybe it'll jog my memory.
Hell if I remember.
I see. We're all.
um
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, no, some talking about autism awareness and how a lot of corporations partner with Autism Speaks, and how they're just it's just performative, and they don't actually give a shit.
Yeah.
They just want to seem like they're doing all these great things while they continue to screw over everybody they possibly can on their way to make a buck.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was going to segue. So yes, that's exact. Thank you, Anarchy, for jogging my memory. Before I lose it, there's a series called Owl House. I don't know if anybody here has watched it. But
Yes.
yeah. But in Owl House, right, it is unapologetically gay. And Disney had a problem with that. It wasn't marketable. So they've cancelled it essentially. It's still going to finish its story, I believe the story that it was telling, and then they're going to also have season 3 be like 5 episodes. But basically the director on the team said, "Oh, it doesn't what was his excuse? Oh, it doesn't, like, something about it not being representative of the Disney brand." That's precisely what they said. And that's why they're canceling it. We all know what that actually means. We all know that it's because it's gay as fuck. And
Yeah,
that's not
they got
marketable.
scared because it's gay as fuck.
Yeah.
And they're like, some people don't think that's family friendly anymore. I don't know. Get rid of the gay shit.
Yep. Yep. So we had a fantastic, emotional, and very sweet love story and a lot of gay. And now that's just being taken away entirely, essentially, because of, yeah, you know, it's family friendly as long as it's a prince and a princess, right? But the moment there's a gay, there's no family friendness anymore. We will not have the gay. There is no gay here, you know.
Well, argument could be made. It's just capitalism attempting to appeal to the lowest common denominator. I feel safe in saying the generalization within mainstream media and any large company outputting some sort of media product is that only queer people will enjoy queer things, but anyone can enjoy a straight thing. It goes back to a similar thing to what Anarchy was saying, where it's well, you had a point that tied into it, though the point has escaped me because I'm a professional.
Oh well, we're all losing our points today. It's fine. This is a chill podcast. It doesn't have to be.
But the live studio audience, Midnight. The live studio audience.
The live studio audience. We haven't got many people in, but it is 20 minutes in, so let's hope that more people arrive. Even if they don't, it'll be on YouTube and they can enjoy it.
That was a joke. It's a live studio audience that'd be in your room, Midnight.
Oh,
that'd be in your room. You have the applause sign.
You see that little plush.
Penny.
Oh, Penny could be, yeah. The live studio audience.
Penny counts.
Penny does count. Penny does count. The live studio audience is the plush that's lying on my bed and Penny. Also, my bed has no sheet on it. Don't at me.
I didn't see anything.
I'm going to judge you harshly for that.
Okay. Well,
You're a monster.
I suppose it's not the bed sheet, it's the duvet cover. I washed my duvet cover and I have a second one and a third one, and I can find neither of those two. So while that one's in the wash, I have no duvet cover. I should probably buy more duvet covers.
So what you're saying is on tonight's podcast of gender identity in video games, we're discussing duvet covers and how the lack thereof makes you a certified psychopath. A menace to the entire city, if you will.
Yeah, all of those things. So.
Well, I think it's official. Today's genders are duvet cover or no duvet cover.
The only two genders.
Yes, the two genders.
The two genders. Everything else is a fad.
Imagine how fucking right-wing chuds would react to that. It's a game, but the only two gender identities are just duvet cover or no duvet. Like, everything else is the same, but just that's what it says is the gender identities.
Now that's a world I'd be willing to live in.
It sounds like paradise, to be honest.
The woke social justice utopia I deserve.
Oh my god.
Well, okay, I actually want to raise a question because it's something that weighs on me from time to time, and I'm curious to get some other opinions on it. So, generalizing here, in games there's largely two sort of frames of, let's say, reference when it comes to protagonists. So you'll typically have your more open-ended RPG type protagonists, say for example in Skyrim, where they have very little personality built into them. Their personality is largely built on your actions and how you approach situations. Then on the other end, you have very character-focused games, like for example, what I've finally been finishing, Red Dead Redemption 2, where whilst you do have a fair amount of player choice and agency as to how you represent the character, it's largely baked in. The character is the character. Whether it's Arthur Morgan or other video game characters who definitely exist, Ellie from The Last of Us, Nathan Drake from Uncharted. The characters are there and you get to experience it without having too much influence on it. So I want to raise the question, how does that affect the way you play games? On one hand, playing something very story and character driven, and on the other, playing something where you influence the character and their experiences in a more direct way.
I know for us, we tend to not play games with a super strict story, um, just because they generally don't tell interesting stories to us. Um,
Valid.
Mostly like it's always really the same thing. Like the Uncharted series, you know, pale dude goes and finds a treasure in some land that is mysterious only to white people. And and it's just there's like 15 games of the same concept, and it's always from the same point of views, and it's very boring after a while. Like I just feel like I've played that before. Um there's not even usually very interesting mechanics, and you can see this, whether it's Call of Duty or Uncharted or uh freaking The Darkness, or like they're just rehashes of I wish my life was cooler, and like somebody, I don't know. It's um frustrating. So games where it puts you more into the driver's seat and you can actually role play tend to be more interesting to us. Um because then we can actually create our own character, and there's at least like we can make our own stories that can be interesting. And it's an issue not just with representation but also with like the storytelling of games. They're not generally very good, honestly.
Totally fair. Although, if I may, Anarchy, I would like to follow up with, um, what about the comparison made to, say, traditional cinema and film compared to modern video game storytelling? Uh, to specify a little bit more, wherein they made you in similar ways. Again, going back in my case to Red Dead Redemption 2, it was very much essentially like playing a Western movie.
Hmm. I have a thought about this actually. I think it's very contextual from my
Oh,
perspective.
absolutely.
Um,
There is no right or wrong answer.
yes, but what I'm saying is for everyone, I think it's contextual. Let's take the thing that popped into my head immediately, besides Celeste, because that's just in my head constantly now. But but besides that game, um, Pokemon. Um, if you're into those sort of games, as like a standard RPG, turn-based RPG, your character is completely silent, and the only real choices you tend to make, especially, well, in the old school ones specifically, is are you a boy or a girl, and what cool monsters do you have, and how do those cool monsters beat up other monsters, right? That game can be incredibly compelling, and you can get really invested into it without having that much of a story. Whereas, from my perspective, The Last of Us, even The Last of Us 2, which a lot of people have like unrighteously hated on, which I feel is unjustified. I've watched people play it and I thought it was
Uh,
pretty good.
The
Mm.
Last of Us 2 had too many women in it, therefore it was political.
Oh, I
Just
see.
saying.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people hate The Last of Us 2, and it's like really, really good. The only thing that really pissed me off, have you two played it? Or have you and Anarchy played it? They have you played?
Unfortunately, not.
Okay, I don't want to spoil the ending then, unless you folks are willing to hear the spoiler.
We're cool with it.
Mike?
I'll block my ears. It's fine.
Okay. In it, right at the very end, Ellie is living with her partner. And they had a life. They had like a kid, adoptive kid, and everything. And Ellie decides to go on a revenge-fueled quest to kill Abby for killing, what's his name now?
Joel.
Joel. And I was like, you could have just lived a happy life. You could have just left her to die. Why did you go back? And I was so upset about that.
Well, from a writing and game design perspective, I'm neither a writer nor game designer, and I have not played one on TV. But the fact that you felt something about that is exactly the reason they did it.
Yeah, fair enough.
No interesting stories ever ended with "and they lived happily ever after." It's all about getting that emotional engagement from the players or audience.
Right, but the fact that the emotional engagement wasn't, I get it. I don't like this, but I get it. But rather, it was annoyance. I think that they messed that up. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely meant to be an emotion there. I just think it sounds like this one provoked the wrong emotion, honestly.
That's fair.
I don't know. I wanted my lesbian. No, this is the thing. This is another thing in media. I wanted my lesbian happy ending. Okay. That doesn't happen a lot. Okay. I get that it's interesting to have characters do stuff, but like, there's a trope in like gay media where like the two partners either split.
Share your gaze.
Yeah. Yeah, the two partners either split because of damaging circumstances, like in the Crying Game with the trans character and the soldier whose name I cannot remember now. Like they end up having to split to save the trans character from being like taken away, and I was like, okay, that's very sad and very sweet, but it doesn't have to be every story. We could just have a happy. I mean, I know The Last of Us isn't renowned for its happy endings. That would be like expecting The Walking Dead to have a super happy ending, you know. But you can give us at least something, just one, you know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a problem with a lot of media, especially being made by people who are not in these communities. It just kind of trauma porn, honestly, and it's a bunch of like cis straight people just being like, "Oh, aren't we good people for talking about these issues?" And it's just like they learned about it from the last movie or the movie that did it 30 years ago, and it's an issue of not having enough queer people in the writing rooms and in charge of all of this, and also the corporations who are making the games being afraid to actually make them queer because of all the nonsense we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I do want to interject on your opinion there, whilst I do mostly agree with you. I'm of the firm belief it rises far, far above your writers and directors and game designers. They don't have control in any meaningful sense of what they make. Again, at least in mainstream media, obviously when you go to your indie movies and indie games, it hits different. It goes to your publishers and studios.
Well, yeah, it goes down.
A
It gets down
$100 million movie takes a $1 billion company to make. Well, to lie about. Can I go on a quick tangent about Hollywood accounting?
Wait.
Go for it.
Yeah, let's hear.
Okay. Did you know that no movies, in any meaningful way, make any money? Did you know that? Even the ones that earn $1 billion plus,
Yep.
none of them make any money. So if you sit and watch to the end credits of your typical blockbuster, what you'll see at the end, besides the million logos of every company involved and the fact that some part of it was always filmed in the U.S. state of Georgia for the tax write-offs, even though their reputation as far as queer rights and women's rights is pretty egregious. But I digress. So, if you wait till the end of the movie, you'll see that it wasn't made, technically, by Disney or Warner Brothers or Fox or whomstever. It will be made by Movies Name LLC. So what happens is when a movie gets made, they make a company called Avengers the Movie .company. And said company, wait, let me get this right. Disney charges said company for for everything, for the rights, for the scripts, they sell them. Everything needed to make the film is sold to said company named Avengers Movie Company. Then, when the earnings come in, Avengers Movie Company didn't make any money because it now owes $1 billion or whatever to its parent company, Disney. And so the cycle continues. Now, it's not the best description without going all technical and writing things down, but needless to say, irrespective of how much a movie makes, on paper, on the books, it earns no money or near as damn it to no money, and by extension, no taxes paid on it. That's a lot of $1 billion that don't get taxed there. Just saying. Mm-hmm. So, in a roundabout way, the point I'm trying to make is, as creative as a writer or director or game designer can be, at the end of the day, we're so beholden to the capitalistic systems in place, where the people at the top of these billion, trillion-dollar companies are making decisions for everyone around them.
Well,
it's all about doing what's safe and what's guaranteed to earn money. It's not about creativity.
Yeah, well, and do we want to talk about the fact that pretty much all AAA games and Hollywood movies are funded in some way by the U.S. government, and how, as part of the funding, the government gets to go through their scripts and everything? Because
I had no idea. That's terrifying. Yeah. Do you have more details?
I know any movie that uses United States military equipment has to get permission for the script and everything from the U.S. government, like from the Pentagon.
I remember that being quite a big deal with the first Transformers movie in 2007. I'm showing my age.
Yeah, it was also huge with Zack Snyder's Superman, and Superman, of course, in that is really gung-ho about the U.S. military and cops. Loves them.
Oh, the worst part is that was such a bad movie as well.
Why do you think it was such a bad movie? It was all about sucking off the U.S. government.
It was sucking military dicks, but like not in like a fun romantic way.
Yeah,
damn, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, you know what else is unfortunate? You know, Mass Effect series?
Yes.
That was funded to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars by the U.S. government. So, just
my disappointment is this is an unmitigated level of disappointment in my soul right now. I considered Mass Effect the holy ground.
I had no idea about Mass Effect. I am both intrigued but incredibly depressed to hear that. That is awful.
It kind of makes sense now with what you mentioned, Anarchy, because I mean, yeah, like if we're being honest, even if you're playing as super rogue shepherd, it's still pretty like everyone sucks, but hot damn this military gonna go shoot us some eight.
Notice rogue is also like, it's the quote unquote cooler one, but also the way more racist one and just totally like, yeah, humanity. And it's like, you're that's interesting.
Yeah,
Feels like
that's
it's
that's
saying
viewpoint.
something, but
Yeah, I feel like it's just under the surface now. It's not upfront about it, but it's there. That's an uncomfortable amount of human patriotism.
yeah. And here's the thing, like I'm not saying not to enjoy these
Maybe is the
games,
point. I don't know.
but it's like and we still play these games, but like playing them and knowing this is it completely changes how you look at the games industry, and it sucks.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know about the. I heard about the U.S. government thing, but I didn't know it went that deep. Like that is extremely disturbing. Like I don't want to play another triple A game ever. Hearing that, wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
That,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean,
It sucks. I want that on a t-shirt.
With the long meme text of like the American government has funded all AAA games to make sure that the army always looks good. You should have that, and then just at the bottom, it sucks.
uh, yeah, it. I don't know, but there is at least some hope. Like indie games, thankfully, don't. You have to be careful about what indie games, um, because the U.S. government certainly caught on to that, but there's at least a higher chance of them being okay. Um, but yeah, no, it really does. It just changes your perspective on the games industry, and
Absolutely.
but it also, I mean, this is how insidious the U.S. government is, and it's really frustrating. I feel like I sound like a freaking conspiracy theorist right now, but you can look all this up. It's not like they even really hide it. You can like, so I don't know.
Hey, look, you don't have to have all the answers, but you did touch on a very good point, which is we're still allowed to enjoy the content. You know, a lot of good people did put an enormous amount of effort into making these things happen. You know, they're
Sure,
especially behind the scenes. You know, sure, a lot of celebrities are terrible people. You don't become a millionaire unless you are kind of ghastly at the very least. Um, you're still allowed to enjoy the content, and no one needs to have all the answers as to how to solve it. The most important thing is to talk about it. You know, the more people are aware, the more they can make informed decisions. The less secrecy the US government will have when they're making my next Mass Effect game, apparently. I wish
yeah,
I had a better answer in that regard. I wish I knew how to solve it. But a good start, as we're doing this evening slash today. I don't know where you are, Anarchy. I assume everywhere. But yeah, we don't have to solve it, but it's so important to talk about.
Anarchy, are you still there? Looked like you disconnected for a sec.
yeah. I'm still here. It's for some reason it keeps popping us out. Um, but yeah, it's Sorry, I lost what we were saying.
Basically, it's good that we talk about stuff like this so that we can make more informed decisions. Is basically what Mike said.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we have to take the good with the bad at the moment. Just be aware of what is being said by whom and about whom, and it's a lot to wade through. It's a lot of information, um, but it's it's necessary so that we know what's going on.
Yeah.
For sure. It's like reading the nutritional information on the back of the packet of chips. You know, no one's saying you can't have the chips or you're not allowed to enjoy them, but it's so important to know what went into the process of making it.
Yeah,
Couple of
exactly.
cockroach legs and some crickets.
And some rat feces.
Yeah.
It's good for
Well,
the immune system. When I was a boy
builds character.
and a child, I drank out of the hose and I ate dirt. That's what turned me into the man I am today.
Is that what did it? That must be what I missed.
100%. You needed more hose water and dirt.
And some rat feces.
Well, shit.
Do you
I thought I got plenty.
Some of that too.
do you think it's easy to transition? Like, what if you're a trans guy? All you really need to do is douse yourself in rat feces, right? Screw testosterone. That's the way to do it. For trans women, it's soy milk.
Making
God.
fun of the boomers is fantastic.
You know what the problem is? I don't even like soy milk.
How can you not like?
You know what the problem is? It doesn't actually contain enough estrogen to do anything,
No, the
I
real.
know.
which very unfortunate for a lot of people.
So, do you want to know? I know that we've gotten wildly off topic, but that's fine. This is what usually happens.
I think we were pretty on topic until we started discussing soy boys.
the soy products contain something called phytoestrogen, and a lot of bodybuilders and naughty nutritionists have decided that phytoestrogens are the same as estrogens. Now, I'm going to blow your mind here for a second. Phytoestrogens are not just plant-based estrogen. They're not an estrogenizing hormone. What they are is made up of the same chemical structure as estrogen, but with different atoms. So they could potentially bind to estrogen receptors in your body, but they will not have an estrogenizing effect on your body. They're made the same, but of different stuff. So this whole soy boy thing is based off absolutely nothing. There is no estrogenizing effect from drinking soy, other than the fact that like if you drink soy, you're probably socially conscious. If you eat soy, you're probably socially.
What about the trans fats in ice cream? Are those going to help me transition? Be honest.
Oh, trans fats for sure. If there's trans fats in ice cream, you should totally have them.
Oh, thank God. That's it. That was my last good joke.
No, see, what did it for us was playing all the video games, at least according to our family.
Yeah, I feel that one. Video games taught me everything bad I do.
Well, being able to
That's
occasionally
actually pretty.
choose. What was that?
No, I stumbled because you were talking and I wanted to hear what all of you had to say.
Oh, I forgot now. Honestly, it's all good.
You were saying the video games made you gay.
Oh, yeah, just making a joke about uh being able to change our gender constantly, being why we're
Hmm?
as gender fluid as we are.
Dark Souls 2 was too political because there was a coffin that you could get into and change your gender. Damn it.
They put in something in the video games that's turning all the frogs gay.
Turning all the frogs gay, exactly.
Every single gamer frog is gay. What are you gonna do? No way to stop it, it's too late. This is the apocalypse we all deserve.
All the gamer frogs are gay, and they stole $49 million from Alex Jones. Is that what he's gonna go with now?
Oh my god. Watching that, like anarchy outside of the US, I'm not sure if you're aware, but everybody follows US politics outside the US, just by the way.
Oh,
Everybody.
I've heard.
Like,
It's like reality TV, but good.
I mean, living here, I'd say that's a pretty damn good description.
Yeah, the whole Alex Jones thing was hilarious to me. Also, did you see him in court? He behaves in court the same way he behaves on camera during his show. It's kind of jarring.
He didn't used to. He used to be a completely different person in court. I think he actually buys his own shit now. Like, I think he actually believes his own shit.
That's terrifying.
How did we get onto Alex Jones? God damn it. Sorry, you were going to say something,
I'm pretty sure you've talked about how evil video games are. It's same page, same book.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
He very much hates video games, which is very funny.
You know what he is? Man's a boomer. There you go.
Oh, he is the definition of a boomer. But, like, all of the worst boomer traits.
Every single one, yeah.
Did you see that one special he did on Christmas where, you know the, like, faux war on Christmas that they have? There was one...
Oh, no, I have a very active war on Christmas.
You have an active war on Christmas?
I have an active war on Christmas. I don't know where to take the joke from there. That's all I got.
Damn it. I was keen to hear your opinion that was a war on Christmas. I took that too literally.
I don't know. Something, assault rifle 15. Kill Santa. There you go.
Oh, okay.
That's the joke. That's what we've got.
Yeah, so this one special he did was a war on Christmas, and there's a war on Christmas. So he went to somewhere in Texas where they had a giant Christmas tree and started yelling into the void, "Merry Christmas!" at like 3:30 in the morning or some nonsense. "It's about Jesus Christ! You will not silence us! Merry Christmas!" And then he like walked up to some rando and was like, "Do you know there's a war on Christmas?" He was like, "Did you know that Christianity is the most persecuted religion in the world?" And the response was so good. The guy literally said, "Well, we are the most popular religion in the world, so I guess it kind of makes sense that we would be the most persecuted one." It was so funny.
I was just thinking, imagine having a stumbling, mumbling, overweight, crazy old man running up to you on Christmas Eve, shouting about Christmas and Jesus, and thinking like, "Oh, dear Christ, is this Santa? Is this what it's come to?"
No, it's Evil Santa from Futurama.
Evil Santa from the South Pole. Oh,
that's why he's so red.
It reminds me of the health supplements before and after he did, where he looks the same in both pictures, but the after one he's slightly more orange.
He's just red.
He's just a lobster. Don't tell like, Jordan Peterson.
Cool. Oh, I don't know what he thought that proved.
It proved look how orange you can do.
Is that what
Oh
happened
my
to
god,
Trump?
I can't
Did
believe it's not orange.
Well, no wonder him and Trump get along so well.
Ah, they look like Oompa Loompas.
Oh my god, where's this conversation? Oh my god. I was gonna bring up something. Oh, do you want to know the funniest thing about Paul? It's Paul Joseph Watson. That's the one with Infowars, right?
Yeah.
And Alex Jones. The funniest thing to me is still they have this active war against soy that we spoke about earlier. But if you look at their Brain Force tablets, it contains a huge amount of soy.
Glorious.
Is anyone surprised? Is anyone surprised that they're full of shit?
And like the best part was is Paul Joseph Watson made a video saying, "Oh well, we had to put soy in it so to counteract how much brain force is in there. Otherwise, it would be too strong because there's no other way to moderate proportions except mix more stuff in. You can't just make less. You have to put fucking soy in there just to make sure."
Gotta put soy in the supplements to turn all the friggin' frogs gay.
You've got
What are
to.
you gonna do?
If I'm understanding this correctly, was their excuse literally that it was too masculine of a substance, and so they had to soy it out a bit, like they had to feminize it a bit, like they force feminized their own serum because they couldn't figure out fractions. Like, is what happened?
Exactly. It's not like you could just make the doses smaller or something, or recommend a lower dose. You have to make the same size tablet and just put soy in it, and that will solve the. There's too much caffeine in my coffee. I better pour like 50 cups of decaf in just to balance it out. I could have less coffee, but this seems better.
Oh.
We put too much morphine in this medication. Better put some arsenic in just to balance it out.
I can't believe they came out and were like, it's okay, guys. We only had to do it to force feminize these really masculine pills a little more. Come on.
Joke's on you, I'm into that shit. And on that lovely note, now that we've thoroughly discussed gender identity in video games, the terrifying capitalist constructs, how the US government is destroying my video games, and how Alex Jones is bad orange man, which is accurate. I do in fact need to say, Midnight, thank you for having me on this evening.
Sure.
Or today, because time zones are a thing that apparently exist, allegedly. But yeah, thank you very much for giving the opportunity to chat with both yourself and with Anarchy. That was a very unique and insightful experience. It was a pleasure meeting all of you.
That is fantastic. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, we went through that hour very quickly, didn't we?
Best hour on live TV tonight.
Best hour on live TV tonight.
Would very much enjoy doing this again.
We can definitely set one up. I'm not sure about Mike's schedule. This might take a lot out of Mike, but if you guys are keen, everyone, well, you folks, excuse my language, if you're keen, we can pick this up again sometime within like 2 weeks from now or 1 week from now. What do y'all think?
I could see myself doing this again in 2 weeks.
What do you think, Anarchy?
Works for us.
Tell you what, I'll drop you a message a week from now and see how everybody feels, because it was really funny talking about gay frogs, Alex Jones, and literally everything we discussed. I wanted to bring up Celeste and Tomb Raider, damn it. We didn't even get the chance.
Well, obviously, the next thing we got to talk about is sexuality in video games then.
Exactly.
We've got our next topic. Tune in next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Okay, well, I'm sure that everybody here needs to leave, so we will call it there. Yes, Kath, unfortunately you missed the whole thing. You missed us bursting in with laughter about brain force pills. But yeah, I'll be in touch with both of y'all, and we'll try and set one up 2 weeks from now. Yeah, this could become like
Sweet.
this could become like really regular. This would
I
be
like
cool.
Like a plan.
This would be cool to
As
do.
regular as my digestive system.
So you only poop every 2 weeks.
I actually poop constantly for 2 weeks straight. Then the rest of the year, I'm open.
That sounds.
It's
I
a very
feel
it's a very freeing experience.
I feel like you should see a doctor.
Yeah. and
Probably.
on that note, I think we will call the stream. As much as I want to hear more about Mike's bowel movements, this seems like a good segue.
Sleep well, y'all.
Sleep well, everyone, and thank you both for coming on. It's been a blast, and I'll see you all in the next one. Okay, bye.
Bye.